What's going on, South Gardens family? Shalom, peace and blessings. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. What's going on, family? It's a random live video, but really, I'm starting a new series called "Lessons That Manhood Has Taught Me." Now, this this can apply to women too. Really, if you want to say lessons that adulthood has taught me, but I'm just speaking from the perspective of a man, of a grown man. That's coming into really maturity. You know what I mean? But as y'all come in, man, as y'all come in, leave a comment or leave a comment in the chat so that way I know y'all in here. So I'm gonna give it about a minute or two, before I get started. But I'm gonna smoke me a cigar as well, if that's cool with y'all. We just gonna chat. We just gonna chop it up. You feel me? I'm just gonna smoke a cigar. I'm back on my cigar kick. You know, back on my cigar kick. Shalom, family. If y'all coming in, man, leave a comment in the chat. Hashtag Black to the Land. Or hashtag whatever you want to hashtag. But this is lesson one as far as lessons that being, coming into manhood has taught me. And this first lesson is to respect time. To respect time. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a lesson that all young men need to learn and understand. I feel like this is a lesson that all young men need to understand coming into manhood. You know what I mean? Because time is the only commodity that we can't make more of. Well, land as well, but we can't make more time. Time is a precious commodity. You can make more money. You can make more friends. You know what I mean? You can whatever you can make more of a lot of different things, but you can't make more of time. You can't make more of land. But today we're just gonna talk about time. So I'm gonna give it about another minute, and then we're gonna get into it. I'm just smoking a cigar, just reflecting on life, really. Just reflecting on life, man. Especially in these times, because we in the end times. You know what I mean? And that clock is ticking. We can't control it. You can't control it. You can make as many clocks and watches as you want, but you can't control time. All right, man, let's go ahead and get into it. So, excuse me, y'all. Just spitting out these little tobacco particles. So, time. Hold on, let me get back to my notes. Keep me out. So, lessons that manhood has taught me is to respect time, right? And so, the first point I want to make is that to respect time, we have to understand that the Most High is the creator of time, right? The Most High, God, Yah, Jehovah. Some people say Jehovah. Whatever the God of the Bible by, the Elohim of the Bible, whatever you know him by, he is the creator of time. The Most High is the creator of time. Shalom, brother Michael. What's going on? Shalom, bro. I have learned a lot from your videos. Thank you, sir. Man, all praises, man. I appreciate you for tuning in, man, for real. You know what I mean? And hopefully you learned something today. Hopefully, I continue to be a service. I only relay the information that the Most High has put inside of me. But understanding that the Most High is the creator of time, right? We don't create time. We exist in it. You know what I mean? We just merely exist in time. We live in this dimension of time, right? We can't create it. We can't make more of it. We just have to accept the time that we have. You know what I mean? That's why the Most High, in the Bible, he limited us to a certain amount of years to live. He limited us to the certain amount of time that we would have on this earth, right? Now, when we die, in him, and when we have faith in his son, in the Messiah, right, we will gain eternal life. We understand that, and that is unlimited time, right? That's eternity. But on this earth, in his flesh, we only have a certain amount of time. And to respect time, we have to understand that we're not the creators of it, but the Most High is the creator of it. So uh, we have to utilize our time in a way that is pleasing to Him, right? The beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Most High. You see what I'm saying? The beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Most High, right? And fear, basically, in scriptural terms, just basically means reverence, right? Revering, holding to a high regard, holding to a high esteem, right? So when we hold the Most High to a high esteem and a high regard, that is the beginning of wisdom, because we are humble enough to learn. We are humble enough to receive correction, rebuke. We are humble enough to receive even the blessings that He pours out upon us. You see what I'm saying? And when we understand and accept that He is the creator of time, then we respect time. We make the most out of our time. We are good stewards over our time. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Most High, right? And the first step to respecting time is to understand that the Most High is the creator of time. Zion on my mind. Shalom, family. What's going on? Brother Michael, 100. Yes. You see what I'm saying? Like, especially when we're younger, right? And I'm just speaking from my perspective as a young boy. Oh, you in Hinesville? Oh, shalom, family. I stay in Ludowici. Hold on, y'all. I got a helicopter flying over right now. It's pretty loud. Pretty loud. I'm gonna let it pass over before I start back talking. I stay close to the base. But shalom, family. Zion on my mind, man. I'm right. We neighbors. I'm right over here in Ludowici, basically Hinesville. So shalom, family. But growing up as a young man, a lot of time, and just a young person in general, just being immature, not uh not realizing the magnitude of things, we don't really respect time. We don't really understand time. Same here, posted you. Passed you the other day, bro. Oh, really? Oh, man, you saw me where I was at. Man, see, man, I just be slipping, man. I got people watching me. I don't even know who watching me. No, I'm just playing. I'm protected by the Most High, but I'm just messing with you. But yeah, man, where you saw me at? But growing up as a young dude, as a child, really, like we all do, we don't really understand time. We don't really understand the magnitude of time. We don't really respect time, because what is the thing? School near water tower. Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, man, I be out and about, man. I just be riding sometime too. But yeah, man, next time you see me, say what's up, man. We can chop it up. Next time you see me, say what's up. But we don't really respect time, because what's one of the main things, as a child that you do? You rush, right? Because we always got that fear that we're gonna miss something. We always got that fear that, we need to hurry up and get this done and do that and the third, so we can go play outside, so we can go do this with our friends. We don't really take the time to spend with our loved ones like we should when we're young like that, because we thinking we got to get out, have fun, do all of these things that the world tells us we have to do, right? And we don't put time in the proper context and in the proper respect. You know what I mean? But as you get older, you start to realize just how precious time is, because as you get older, you're thinking, man, time is flying by. I was just 15. I was just 10. I was just 20. I just turned 21. You know what I mean? And time is flying. And as you get older and time starts flying, once you get past those years of impulsivity, once you get past those years of just being young and just wanting to have fun and just do what the world says do, you start to sit down and you start to really contemplate on life, and you start to really think, and you start to realize, man, time is valuable, and it's a valuable thing to waste. You see what I'm saying? And so you start to learn that. You know what I mean? Even when you're farming, even when you're out on the land, when you're gardening, right? Time is precious, right? Time is precious to get out there and do the things that need to be done, and to take the time to steward over it, because everything takes time. Everything takes time, right? So understanding that time is created by the Most High, right? And when we respect the Creator of time, we will respect time. You see what I'm saying? Just like when we respect the Creator, you know, the Most High, the Father of our Messiah, then we respect what our Messiah did, and we don't make that a common thing, right? That's what the Apostle Paul talks about in his epistle, where he says, you know, when you sin willfully, there is no more atonement because you have taken the blood of Mashiach and you have made it a common thing. You have trampled over it, right? So we need to respect time because we need to understand that the Most High is the creator of time. So anything that he creates must be respected, right? And the fear of Yah is the beginning of wisdom. All right. Is that making sense, y'all? I want to make sure I'm making sense. You know, we just chopping it up. Let me see how many people I got. 2. That's fine. But yeah, so the second thing too, respecting time is accepting that we can't make it and we have a limited supply of it, right? And I just kind of hit on that. But when we respect time, we accept that we can't make no more time, right? Just like I said, time is one of the only commodities, is one of the only commodities that we can't make more of, right? That's why you got a lot of these billionaires and a lot of these rich people who spent their whole life chasing money and spent their whole lives, you know, just chasing after vain things, you know, whether it's money, whether, you know, through ambition, whether it's women, whatever the case may be. They spent their whole lives chasing these things only to get to the end of their life and wish they had more time to do the things that truly matter. You got people who spent their whole life, spend all their time trying to get drugs, trying to get drunk, trying to get sex, trying to please people. You see what I'm saying? Working a career. You feel what I'm saying? Trying to be the best employee that they can be in their career field. They spent all that time doing that only for them to, you know, get down the road, you know, decades later, whether it's 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and regret not using their time wisely and wishing they had more time, or even wishing they can go back in time to redo certain things, right? Like I've had, you know, people, right? I had this woman that I knew who she spent her whole, young adult life striving to be the best in her career field, only to get in her 40s, 50s, or whatever the case may be, never married and childless, right? And wishing that she can go back and have a family, right? Because now that she's, gotten to the point in her career where she wanted to get to, she overlooked, or just didn't pay attention to the things that truly matter, like getting a husband that loves you, like having children that will be the fruit of your womb, that will be the joy of your old age, right? That will produce grandchildren and great grandchildren, and your lineage will go on, and you will leave a mark in the earth, even if it's not. Because see, this is the thing, y'all. We get these gurus, these social media gurus, these motivational speakers, where they sit here and tell you that, oh, you need to leave your mark on the world. But it's only in the terms of whether it's entrepreneurial, making money, being famous, having clout, whatever the case may be. But that's not, well, don't get me wrong, it is making a mark in the world. I'm not saying it's not, but that isn't as important as making a mark in the world as far as passing down your lineage, right? Seeing your seed multiply, but not even just having kids, because this is the thing. You got a lot of people out here who have kids, but their children grow up to disgrace their parents, right? So I'm not just talking about just simply having children. I'm talking about raising and molding children to be ambassadors of you, ambassadors of the Most High in the earth, right? To the point to where, your last name is respected. You see what I'm saying? To where your grandchildren to sit here and say, well, my granddad, he paved the way, for us. My granddad, he instilled these things in us, into our family, or my grandmothers instilled these things into us, into our family. Like for instance, on my father's side, this is the only great grandparent that I ever knew, which was my father's mother's mother, right? So my grandmother, my great grandmother on my father's side, she lived to, I want to say, 96. It was either 94 or 96 years old. She lived to 90, in her 90s, right? But this is the thing. My great grandma, she had 12 kids. She had 12 kids. All of them grew up, with morals and values and respect, God fearing. You see what I'm saying? Grew up in the church. And I'm not just saying as far as, playing religion, but no, strong prayer life. Just these different things that was taught to me by my grandmother and my father. You see what I'm saying? But my great grandmother, and my great grandfather who died, years before I was born, but they instilled so much into their children that their children who are still alive today, my grandmother's siblings who are still alive today, they're all close. You see what I'm saying? They love each other. They have a truly great sibling bond. They're great people. You see what I'm saying? All of them are married. All of them have multiple children. All of them did great things in life. And I'm not talking about, whether it's monetary or anything like that, but great things in life as far as raising upstanding children, upstanding citizens, doing great things in the community. You see what I'm saying? But this is what my great grandparents instilled in their children. They left their mark. Do you know my great grandparents? They had 12 kids, right? Out of those 12 kids, when my great grandmother died, I want to say she had over 100 grandchildren. It was something like that, close to 100 grandchildren, and she had close to like 300 great grandchildren. Right? I was a great grand, so I got a huge family on that side, right? But they left their mark, and guess what? Most, if not all, of my cousins and my uncles and my grandmas and my great uncles and aunts and stuff like that all live honorable lives, right? They're known in my city as great people, right? To the point if you hear their last name, you'll know, oh, okay, that's that family. They come from over here. They grew up in a great household. You see what I'm saying? My great grandfather, he was a man of honor. My great grandmother was a woman of honor, right? Because this is the thing. Not only were they fruitful and they multiplied, but they took their time and molded their children. Michael says, God bless our ancestors. Hallelujah. God bless our ancestors. May the Most High bless them, right? Because they paved the way. You got to think, man, a lot of our ancestors who were slaves, although they were enslaved, in their minds, they weren't slaves. And so they bred their children to not think of themselves as just slaves, but think of themselves as being in this predicament right now, but one day they will get out of this predicament and do great things, which is why we are where we are today, because our ancestors didn't give up. But my great grandparents, they molded their children, right? And they instilled things in their children. They taught their children lessons that still stuck with them until they died, or even in this present time while they're still alive. You see what I'm saying? That is truly leaving your mark on this earth. It's not about money. It's not about all these different achievements, what clubs you were in. It ain't about none of that. It is about what you produce in this earth and what you put in people, what you put in your seed that comes from you, right? And so getting back to what I was saying, as far as the lady that I knew, she didn't, she put her career first, like a lot of people do. It's not just women, it's men too. But a lot of people, they put their career first. And I'm not saying that that's wrong as far as in the proper context and in the proper timing, because this is the thing, to build something, right? It takes dedication and focus. So I understand that. But for you to do that for an extended amount of time while overlooking the things that really matter, what's going to matter in the long run, and putting all that to the side while you just focus on this one thing, that is a problem, right? Because you can sacrifice 5 to 10 years in your 20s. You see what I'm saying? And you could still go on and get married, and you could be married while you're doing it. You could be married and have kids while you want to achieve these things. But let's just say you want to laser in, right? Because I understand some people have different vocations, right? Some people want to be doctors, some people want to be lawyers, engineers, architects. So they got to go through a lot of schooling. And that schooling may take 5 to 10 years. But guess what? After those 5 to 10 years, okay, let's focus on, okay, now I need to be trying to find somebody who I can spend the rest of my life with. Now I need to start trying to have kids while I'm, young and able to do these things, right? Although I might have started later than others, I'm still in that window to be able to do these things. You feel what I'm saying? Because when you get old and and your back don't work like it used to, your knees don't work like it used to, your memory ain't as good as it used to be, and certain ailments is popping up, and you by yourself. You ain't got nobody to look after you. You ain't got nobody to look after you. You can say, well, I got money. Okay, well, it's certain things money can buy, but it's certain things money can't buy. Money might can buy you a companion for a night, but that's only transactional. Money can buy you caretakers, but that's not going to fill that void of you laying in the bed every night alone by yourself. You see what I'm saying? That's not going to fulfill, those intellectual or just emotional conversations that you can have with the person that you chose to make a covenant with and spend the rest of your life with, because you guys bond on a deeper level. Money can't replace that. You see what I'm saying? So we have to understand that, let's use our time wisely. Let's accept that we can't make time and we have a limited supply of it, right? There's only a limited amount of time that you can, do certain things. So let's understand and let's properly plan for it, because in other cultures, they do all this, but they still have families. They still have children. They still do things that are fulfilling. They still spend time with their parents, right? You got a lot of people who put their career over their parents, and it isn't until their parents on their deathbed that they try to spend all the time with them before they leave. When you could have been spending this time with them while they were up, moving around, where you could have, went fishing with your pops, or you could have, did this with your mom, and all these different things, just sitting on the front porch and talking to them, getting the wisdom from them, soaking up these things. You feel what I'm saying? You could have been doing all of this if you properly if you properly respected time and you understood that you can't make more of it, but it's only a limited amount of time, right? We all, well, most of us at least have people who've gone on, in transition and passed away, that we wish, man, if I could just go back and have a day with this person, right? My grandmother passed away 2017. Man, do you know how bad I wish I could just go back and say, man, I wish I could have spent more time with my grandma. Even though I spent a lot of time with my grandma, but I was still young at that time and I was still trying to do other things. So I wasn't I wasn't really just all the time just saying, well, let me call my grandma and let me just call her and chop it up with her, for 30 minutes to an hour, and learn things about the family that I never knew, and learn more about how she grew up and all these different things. Now that she's gone, I'm wishing I could go back and do these things. But coming into the realization of, man, we can't make time and we only got a limited supply of it. You only gonna live for a certain amount of time. No matter how perfectly healthy you are, no matter how much money you got, you know what I'm saying? No matter, what you think is gonna make you live to be, 200 years old, all these different things that people, man, you got people who subscribe to all these different philosophies where they think they're gonna live forever. You know what I mean? But no, respecting time is understanding that you only got a limited supply of it. And one day you're gonna take your last breath, and you don't know what day that's gonna be. So we have to respect the time we have now. We have to respect the time we have now. If you're just coming into the video, man, drop a comment in the chat. Drop a comment in the chat, y'all. Let me know if I'm making sense, man. Let me know if I'm making sense. Talk back to me. You know what I mean? I like the interaction too, man. That's why I went live. But the second portion, what I just stated, is that respecting time is accepting that we can't make more of it and we have a limited supply of it. Now, the next thing, respecting time is understanding Hey, shalom, shalom, Jeremiah 2095, shalom, family. My bad, y'all. I'm just relighting my cigar. I'm just relighting my cigar, y'all. Hold on. Third thing, respecting time is understanding everything has to run its course in due time. D Jones, what's going on? Hey, I appreciate that. Respecting time is understanding everything has to run its course in due time. I remember being sick as a child, right? Because I used to get sick a lot, y'all. Not, I ain't talking about like, diseases, ailments, nothing like that. But like just cold, like just getting colds and stuff. I used to always get sick, you know. And as a matter of fact, just in the past 2 months, I done been sick like 3 times. You know what I mean? Just from colds and sinuses and different things like that. But anywho, when I used to be young, right? And I can remember this one time that I had got sick, right? It's part of the flu or something like that. But like when I get sick, it be real bad. Like I cough, like you can ask my wife, like my cough, it sounds like it hurt real bad because I cough so hard, and I be, gagging and throwing up and all this different type of stuff. But anyways, one time I was real sick, and my daddy was taking care of me. And yes, I call my daddy daddy. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? That's my daddy. But anyway, my daddy was taking care of me. And I was like, Daddy, how much more longer I'm gonna be sick? I'm like, what I can take to make this go away? And he was like, son, you just gotta let it run its course. and as a young person, I didn't really understand it. But as I started, thinking on it, and I'm like, it just gotta run its course. It gotta run its course through your body. That virus gotta run its course. You can't just make it go away like that. You can't. It's things in this world, a lot of things in this world, most things in this world that you gotta let run its course. When you're going through a hard season, you just gotta let it run its course. You gotta when your body fighting the infection, you gotta let your body do its thing. Because you don't want your body to just let that infection lay dormant, because then it's gonna peek its head out over time, right? Or it's gonna get stronger in your body, and over time it's gonna make you even more sicker, and it's gonna cause even more of a disease or even more of an ailment, right? So you want it to run its course so it can flush it out of you, so it can get out of you, so that virus can get out. So no matter how many tissues you blow how many tissues you go through blowing your nose, right? How much mucus come out of you, how many fevers you have. That's your body running its course. That's that virus running its course. And it's getting this, that's your body fighting for you. Right? So over time, guess what? After a while, your body, your immune system is going to kick that virus out of you. And that virus is going to leave. But it's going to take some time to leave. And that's with anything in this world. We can't rush anything. We can't rush any process. That's why you see a lot of people is getting sick right now, because too many people is rushing and making shortcuts. They splicing things and they making genetically modified things, and they trying to do lab grown meat to mass produce it. Mass production has really been a detriment to our society. Mass production has really been a detriment to our society. That's why, because I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to smoke Black and Milds and cigarettes, if y'all didn't know. But this is the thing, right? And this is why I picked up the habit of smoking cigars, right? Because cigars, they're not necessarily mass produced like cigarettes and Black and Milds. And the reason I'm using this analogy is because I'm speaking of quality, right? Because this is the thing. Most cigars, if not all, they're hand rolled. They're made from whole tobacco. You know what I mean? Meaning they're not like cigarettes that, they cut up tobacco, but they spray all these different things and they have all these different additives in it. You see what I'm saying? They don't have all these different additives that cause cancer. You got some cigarette brands that have fiberglass in the tobacco. They have all these different cancer-causing chemicals in the tobacco. In addition to that, they're spraying the tobacco with a lot of these different solutions or whatever the case may be to make it last longer on the shelf, to make it, be able to be shipped across the world, to be able to be preserved. So they're using all these different chemicals, but what are those chemicals doing in your body? It's the same thing with our food, right? They want to mass produce, all these processed foods that we find in the grocery store, right? Because I forget who says it, but they basically talk about, when you go on grocery shopping, avoid the middle aisles, because the middle aisles have all the processed foods, your cookies, your snacks, your cakes, all these different things. But the outside aisles, whether it's the freezer section or whether it's the fresh produce section or whether it's the deli, whether it's the bakery, that's where you want to be shopping at. Whether it's where the eggs and dairy is at, that's where you want to be shopping at. You don't want to be shopping in those middle aisles where everything is mass produced. You want to be shopping on the aisles to where they getting stuff in fresh, right? Where these things don't have a long shelf life. Excuse me, y'all. Where these things don't have a long shelf life, because those are the things that are healthy for you. You know why? Because anything that doesn't decompose in the right amount of time is not healthy for you, right? So even with vegetables, right? Yeah, I mean, if you ain't got no choice, yeah, you get canned vegetables. You know what I mean? But you want to get fresh vegetables. If you want the best bang for your health, you want to get the fresh vegetables, right? Because a lot of times, or sometimes rather, they don't have all these different preservatives and different things in it. Now you might have, they might have been sprayed or whatever with stuff like that, pesticides or whatever, right? But I'm just talking about in your means, what's in your means, because if you really want to be as healthy as you can, go to a farmer's market, right? That's the next step from the fresh produce in the grocery store. But if you want to be top tier healthy, go directly to the farm or grow it yourself. Does that make sense? Talk back to me, y'all. But if you want it to be, like we just had a harvest today, where we got peppers, where we got tomatoes, where we got cucumbers fresh out the garden. I ain't never sprayed nothing on it. No GMOs, no nothing. Right? You know the fertilizer we use, fish fertilizer. You know what else fertilizer we use? Chicken manure, sheep manure, cow manure. When I go fishing, right? When I be going fishing and stuff, and I catch fish, when I fillet them, you know what I do with the fish heads and the carcass? Bury them in the garden. That's the fertilizer they need. They don't need nothing sprayed on it. I don't need no preservatives for that. You feel what I'm saying? If you want to store it over a long time, then there's different things you can do. You can have a root cellar. You can pressure can it. You can grind things into a powder. You can is it dry freeze? I want to say it's dry freeze. You could dry freeze it or whatever the case may be, to preserve it if you really want to do it like that. But I say all that to say, y'all, we have to let things run its course in life. Right? When you put a seed in the ground, you can't rush it to grow. You gotta let it run it. You gotta let it run its course. Right? When you got animals, you can't, and this is one thing that I contemplated. This is one thing I contemplated when I first got my sheep, was artificial insemination. I contemplated artificial insemination when I first, started getting into my sheep. And I was, I had even bought things for it, right? Because this is the thing, like when I was doing my research, and they was basically saying like you can, you don't even have to have a ram if you're raising sheep, or if you're raising goats, you don't gotta have a buck. What you can do, you can pay a stud fee where you could take your females, your ewes or your does to another person's farm, and you can have their male reproduce, or you can get the sperm or the semen from that, and you can artificially inseminate. And this is the thing, you can manipulate it to the point to where you can have twins, you can have triplets, you can have quadruplets. Like people do all that type of stuff, right? And that'll make your flock grow like this, like this, like this. But as I started thinking about it, I started asking myself, or really, the Most High put it in my spirit, is that of me? Is that of the Most High for artificial insemination? Is that natural? Is that how the Most High created things to be? For you to be able to just go and do this artificial insemination? Like you see even women doing it. You see people doing it, right? Where they go to these different, like, man, I seen this, I watched this snippet from this podcast, and this girl, she was talking to her mom, and her mom, basically was saying that she got the artificial insemination to have her, And this girl never grew up knowing a father or anything. She only knew her mother and her mother's girlfriend or her mother's wife, right? And I'm like, man, that is crazy to think about a child growing up, And again, this ain't no disrespect to nobody, but I don't have to agree with. We don't have to agree with different lifestyles, right? But this is no disrespect, but I'm just thinking in my mind, in my paradigm, uh, man, what a sad life to grow up and only know one of your parents. But not only that, to know that you didn't come you didn't come from a natural process. You came from a scientific experiment. You see what I'm saying? Like, think about that. Because this is the thing, it's questions that are going to arise when you get older. That naturally happens to all of us. Man, even the people, where, they daddy, just was with their mama for a night or for a season, and then he just disappeared and you never know them. You still have those questions. Man, what's my dad like? What's his side of the family like? What traits do I get from him? Because I understand, if we're gonna be real, I'm half him and I'm half her. I'm half my father and I'm half my mother. So no matter how you try to dress it up, the child is still half their fathers. So the child still gets traits from their father just as much as the mother. I know we like to sit up here and try to exclude the man, and we try to get out, and I ain't gonna get into all that. But we sit here and we try to exclude, one parent, not realizing that your child is half that parent. So where you sitting here talking bad about this child's parent, whether it's the mother or father, because I've seen both do it. I've seen men do it. I've seen women do it. Not realizing that your child is literally half that person. But this child is going to grow up and think like, man, I wonder what my father's like. I wonder what this, what that. But I'm saying all that to say is that's why I didn't go with the artificial insemination when it came to my sheep with my flock, because I'm like, yeah, it might, allow my flock to go, and multiply quickly and all this different type of stuff. But then, I was like, that's not of the Most High, right? And the Most High, his way is the natural way. His way is how he created it to be. Man and woman, male and female come together. And whatever produces out of that is what the Most High intended. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why I didn't do that. And that's and now what am I doing now? I'm letting it run its course. Yeah, I want a nice size flock, but this the thing. I'd rather have a nice size flock, that I know that I did everything right and in alignment with the Most High, and I let it run its course naturally. Because this is the thing: when you let things run their course naturally, the benefit at the end is exponential because of the simple fact of, like, for instance, with my sheep, for example, speaking specifically with my sheep. Although, the numbers aren't where I want them to be, with each birth, with each death, because I've had three sheep die within the past month. I've had 3 sheep die within the past month. So, my flock, it just, but anyway, I say all that to say, you learn through the births, you learn through the deaths, you learn through the different seasons, and you learn over time how to be a good steward and how to be a good shepherd. You see what I'm saying? When you let things run its course. So when it gets to a point to where your flock is large, you know how to manage it. And you didn't just bite off more than you could chew because you tried to take a shortcut instead of letting it run its course. You see what I'm saying? So respecting time is letting things run its course in a proper time, in due time. The next point I want to make, respecting time is making the most of it in a meaningful way. Right? When we respect our time, we don't waste it. Anything you respect, you don't squander. You feel what I'm saying? If you bought your dream car, are you gonna remember to get the oil change? Are you gonna keep it clean? Of course you are. You know why? Because you spent your hard-earned money on that. If you go buy your dream house, is you gonna let the grass grow up and the weeds grow up to the point where people can't even see the house, and you're not cleaning the house and you're not taking care of the house, the roof got a hole in it? No, you're gonna take care of that. You're gonna take care of that thing. Why is that? Because you worked hard for it, because you spent your hard-earned money on it, because you paying money every month to maintain it and keep it. So why would you not be a good steward of it? You see what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with our time. When we respect our time, because we understand that it's a gift that was given to us by the Most High, a gift that can be taken away at any moment. Your next second isn't guaranteed, right? So when we respect time and when we understand it's a gift that was given to us by the Creator of all things, we will make the most of it in a meaningful way, not in a way that just only suits our desires, but also in a way that's meaningful to the people around us, to the things around us, to the Most High, right? He gave you 24 hours in a day, but you can't give him an hour of prayer and reading your word. And not and let's not even just say an hour, 10 minutes. Most people don't even give the Most High 10 minutes a day. Most people don't even get the Most High 30 seconds a day. But he gave you 24 hours in a day. You see what I'm saying? So when we respect our time and when we respect and understand it was a gift that was given to us, we make the most of it in a meaningful way. We steward over it. We steward over the people that he's, put in our hands. You know what I mean? Whether it's your children, your spouse. You know what I mean? When you treat them well, when you do things for them, when you in your word and you reading his word and you're learning his ways and you're learning his wisdom. That's making the most of your time in a meaningful way. When you're stewarding over that job that he's allowed you to get, that career that he's allowed you to get, that business that he's allowed you to get. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. You see what I'm saying? You know, how you steward over that garden, right? Making sure it's watered every day, making sure your animals is fed every day, making sure that you're taking care of yourself, your temple. You see what I'm saying? Is that making sense, y'all? Leave me some feedback in the comment section, in the chat. I mean, leave me some feedback, right? So, making the most of our time in a meaningful way, not in a vain way, right? Because at the end of vanity is nothing. You ever read the book of Ecclesiastes, right? Because I know a lot of people, they like to go to Proverbs, and there's nothing wrong with that because Proverbs is filled with wisdom as well. Proverbs is filled with wisdom, but Ecclesiastes, man, it teach you about this thing called life. So your life is nothing but a vapor. Here today, gone tomorrow. You see what I'm saying? Talks about vanity, right? King Solomon harps on that vanity because if you read about his life, what happened in his life, right? It started off good, but then guess what? Chasing after vain things, chasing after women. Because remember, at first, when he grew up in the ways of his father, right? And a lot of people, they like to credit Solomon for being so wise, which he should be credited for, but they overlook a lot of the wisdom that his father imparted on him. Because the main reason he was wise enough to even ask the Most High for wisdom, right? When he made all them sacrifices, and the Most High came to him and asked him what did he want, he was wise enough to say, "I just want wisdom." Right? You entrusted me with the kingdom. I want to be wise enough to keep it. He ain't asked for money, and the Most High, y'all said, because you ain't asked for money, you ain't asked for all these different things. I'm gonna give you all those things because you asked for wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing. But the only reason, or the main reason rather, that he asked for wisdom is because of the ways that his father brought him up in. Right? The response of reading in Proverbs, my son, don't turn away from my teachings. Keep my commands in your heart, for they will add to you many days, years of life and peace. David taught him that. Dawid taught him that. And that's why he was wise enough when the Most High came to him to ask for wisdom. You see what I'm saying? But Solomon, one of the wisest men in the world, or the wisest man that ever lived besides the Mashiach, right? Besides the Messiah. His life started off good. Excuse me, I got these bugs flying around. His life started off good, but what did he start doing? He started going after vain things, right? He built the temple. The temple was so nice. You know, people came from all around the world to hear his wisdom. Women came from all around the world to marvel at him. Guess what? His heart was given to many women. What did those women do? They pulled his heart away from the Most High. It made him start worshiping their gods, their Elohims, right? And their God and worshiping of their gods is vanity, right? Worshiping of Baal, Ashtaroth, Molech, all these different gods, Dagon that he was worshiping, right? Osiris, all these different gods that he was worshiping, the gods of the Philistines and everything like that. It all led to vanity, which is why he lost the kingdom. Or lost half of the most of the kingdom, rather. Well, his son lost it. He didn't lose it, because this is the thing. The Most High might not always punish you in your lifetime, but it's gonna go down to your seeds, right? Just like he won't always give you the blessing in your lifetime, but he'll give it to your seed. Just like with David and Solomon. David wasn't able to build the temple because he had shed too much blood, but his son was able to build it, right? In all of its splendor. And it was because of his father and how his father was a man after the Most High's heart, that the Most High didn't take the whole kingdom from Solomon's son, but only took a portion, most of it, but he still had what? Judah, Benjamin, Levi, some of Simeon, right? But that's what happens when you go after vain things. That's what happens when you don't make the most of your time in a meaningful way. Look at King Solomon, for example. And he writes about that in Ecclesiastes, where he's talking about all these different things that just lead to vanity. Don't go after these vain things, because at the end of them are nothing. No matter how much sex you have, with how many beautiful women or beautiful men or whatever the case may be, no matter how much money you make, at the end of it, what is it? If you didn't make the most of your time in a meaningful way, at the end of it, you still gonna be put in the box and be buried under the earth. And your flesh is gonna decompose, and your bones is just gonna be left. No matter if you buried, in the most expensive plot, and you got the horse and carriage for your funeral with the solid gold casket, or whether they just put you in a pine box and throw you in the ground, it all goes to the same end, which is nothing. Because guess what you're gonna be doing? Nothing. All right, something I'm learning. Time is not always guaranteed. Have to stop putting off things. Exactly, procrastination. That's one of my big things. I ain't even gonna lie. Procrastination, and that's something that I'm working on now. It's procrastination. But when you respect time, you stop procrastinating so much, because you realize you don't know how much more time you're gonna have to get this done. Like, I can remember when I was in school getting my degree, man, my assignments would be due on Monday, right? On every Monday, my assignments would be due. And my assignments would be due. So I noticed I got from Monday I got Monday to start, and then the following Monday is due. Y'all know what I would do? I sit here and wait till Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, even sometimes. I know I got a 10-page paper due the next morning. I'm starting it on Sunday. Procrastination, right? Which is, at the end of the day, what is that? It's foolishness. It's folly, right? Get it done. Get it done. Because while you're thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and wait till Sunday, you don't know what can happen on Sunday. You don't know if you might have an emergency where you got to go out of town, pack up, this, that, and the third. You don't know. Oh, you don't know what's going to happen to you. Right? Or you don't know if, man, Sunday, you might not even feel like it because you so drained from working. But if you would have got it done on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, you wouldn't have had to worry about it. Excuse me, all these bugs. It's getting crazy. Hold on, let me spray me some bug spray around. Hold on. Cause they be biting me up, I ain't gonna lie. You feel what I'm saying? But making the most out of our time in a meaningful way. Phil R. Shalom, brother. Say shalom, online remnant servants. It's such a resounding joy to be here for fellowship. Iron sharpening iron. Yes, iron sharpening iron. Authentic manhood, as established in the scriptures, is the only way that we will be able to be steadfast in obedience. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're absolutely right, brother. Right? So respecting time is making the most of it in a meaningful way. All right, next point. Respecting time is being patient and understanding we only have right now because the next second isn't guaranteed. Understanding that we only got right now. As we on this live, we only have right now. We don't know what's gonna happen after this live video over. We don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. We don't know what's gonna happen a week from now. But we know what's happening right now. And respecting time is understanding that we only have right now. Man, I'm gonna do this tomorrow. Messiah tells us, take no thought of tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Right? Don't sit here and say, oh, well, I'm gonna do this tomorrow, that tomorrow. He says, you know, who gave you power, right? To basically think that you can control if you gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm paraphrasing right now, y'all. But who gave you this pride that you think that you can control if you gonna wake up the next morning? That's why every night when you pray, you better be repenting and you better be giving your heart to the Most High, because you don't know if you're gonna wake up from that sleep, from that nap. Because you know when you sleep, you temporarily dead, right? Y'all realize that, right? Like you in a comatose state, right? When you sleeping. It ain't a guarantee if you're gonna wake up. But understanding you only got right now. When you understand that, I guarantee you a lot of the things that you've been slacking on, it'll get done this week. It'll get done this day. When you realize, man, I don't know if I got tomorrow, but I know I got right now. Because guess what? Even if, let's just say, it ain't always got to be about death, whether you going to, live or die. But it can even be if you're going to be in this same state of mind, in this same physical well-being tomorrow. You don't know that. You know how many people got in a car accident today, lost a leg, an arm, an eye, brain damage, right? Short-term memory loss, back problems, got to walk with a cane, got to be in a wheelchair, got shot in the leg, got to be amputated, found out they got diabetes, leg got to get amputated, body part got to get amputated. You know how many people, you know what I mean, that they life ain't gonna be the same as it was yesterday? Just thinking about that in general, like we take all these things for granted. We take all these things for granted because we view them as small things until life gets real. And then now we have to come to terms like, man, I'm not gonna be able to do this no more. I'm not gonna be able to do that no more. How it once was. You see what I'm saying? So understanding that the next second isn't guaranteed. We only have right now. And being patient as well. That's another thing, patience. And that kind of goes hand in hand with allowing things to run its course, but being patient, right? Because you know how many people who got in car accidents because they was impatient? Because, excuse me, because they was rushing to get to work, and while they was rushing to get somewhere, they messed around, wasn't paying attention, then hit somebody, or somebody done hit them. They either lost their life, or they got problems for the rest of their life that they got to deal with behind that, because they wasn't patient enough to say, you know what, the destination gonna be there when I get there. I mean, all the people might not be there. Some people might have left the party already, but hey, I'm gonna still have a good time. You see what I'm saying? Or yeah, my boss might be mad that I'm late, but if I make it alive, that's better than nothing, and better than late than never. You see what I'm saying? Because I understand, yes, this is a career and this is a primary focus in my life, but it ain't everything. It ain't worth me getting in a rush to the point to where, I'm not paying attention. And God forbid something tragic happens. You know how many people, how many stories I've seen of people who their patience and different things like that has saved their life. Let's look at an example for 9/11. Man, I seen stories of people who said, man, I was late, getting up for work that morning, and I realized I wasn't gonna make it in time, so I called out, or I realized I wasn't gonna make it in time, so I took my time. And halfway there, I heard the news. You see what I'm saying? That saved their life. They would have been in that tower, in one of those towers that day, if they weren't patient, if they was rushing. Many went to bed last night. They didn't wake up today. Absolutely. Distracted by material things while neglecting the things that connect each of us to salvation. Exactly. Distracted by material things, by vain things, vanity, material things. Material is gonna pass away. That's why Messiah tells us, don't try to sit here and store up all this treasure on earth where it's gonna rust and where the moth gonna get to it and where it can be stolen. No, he say store up your treasure in heaven in the Shamayim to the point to where nothing can affect it. Right? But let's understand that our next second isn't guaranteed. And that we only have right now. All right, next point. Respecting time is doing things right the first time, no matter how long or short it takes, because time can make things appreciate or depreciate. Right? When you respect time, architects, they respect time. Right? Construction workers, they respect time. Farmers, they respect time. All these different people respect time. Man, these bugs are tearing me up, yo. But when you respect time, right, and you're building a house, guess what? You're not gonna rush the foundation because you know that foundation got a hold for decades, if not centuries, right? So we're not gonna rush this. We gonna buy the best material. We ain't gonna throw up no plywood like they doing these houses today. They just throwing up plywood and these two by fours that ain't worth nothing. That ain't worth nothing. You see what I'm saying? But we're gonna take our time and do it right the first time. Right? When they building these large skyscrapers, they taking their time. They getting their measurements right. What they say? They say measure what they say, measure 2 times before you make a cut. Measure 2 or 3 times before you make a cut. Right? Before you even make a cut, you want to make sure you done measure multiple times. Because you understand, if it's off by a centimeter, it's gonna throw the whole thing off. When you do things right the first time, they appreciate in value over time. When you take shortcuts and you don't do it right the first time, and I'm guilty of it, they depreciate over time. The structure gets wobbly. The foundation gets cracks in it. The wind can blow the structure over. You see what I'm saying? When you don't properly build a foundation for your relationship, for your marriage, over time, guess what? Foundations in the crack gonna show. Things that you thought that you and your spouse agreed on, but y'all ain't never even talk about it. Now it's becoming an issue now that you got kids. And life is starting to life. These different things are starting to happen, right? And now you and your spouse at odds because y'all ain't take the time to do it right the first time. And get an understanding, get counseling, get in the most high, have a prayer life, have these uncomfortable conversations. Because we can be so blinded by the beauty that we overlook the conversations that need to be had. Because you don't want to risk losing this person, not realizing this person ain't worth having if y'all don't agree on certain foundational things and principles. Measure twice, cut once. Luke 14:28, count the cost. Exactly, Phil. Appreciate that, brother. Count the cost. Build it on the stone. Don't build it on sand. You see what I'm saying? Do it right the first time. Because while you done sit here and you done built on a shaky foundation, or you done built on soft ground, you done threw it up fast, it looked nice, it looked grand. While the man over here took him twice as long, maybe 3 times as long, and it might not be as glamorous. But guess what? When the hurricane comes, when the storm comes, guess what house gonna withstand? That wise man who counted the cost, who built his house on a solid foundation. You see what I'm saying? Do it right the first time. Because you won't have to keep going back. Measure twice, cut once. I had to learn that, because I'm new to building stuff. And I'm by no means am I a master at it at all. I'm a novice still, actually. But guess what? There's things that I learned when I did rush start building things. When I did rush a chicken coop, or when I did rush this, or did rush that, a fence, or whatever the case. When I rushed it, guess what happened? I had to go back and keep fixing it. You see what I'm saying? I had to go back and try to do things to make it, but it's only patching it up when I could have just did it right the first time. Because things, see, time tells. That's what that time tells. Respecting time is understanding that time will tell. We all heard that saying, "Oh, time will tell." But guess what? When time tells, if you did it right, it's going to congratulate you. If you did it wrong, it's going to shame you. All right, next point. Respecting time is understanding that making a 1 minute decision can have lasting consequences that can take years to resolve. I don't know how many brothers, I seen stories on Facebook or homeboys who I talked to who said, "Man, if I wouldn't have made that decision to do this or do that X, Y, and Z, man, I wouldn't have had to go lay down for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years." A dude saying, "Man, a dude stepped on my shoe in the club, so I shot him. All that may have took 2 minutes, 5 minutes, but 5 minutes now you done got 20 years off that 5 minutes." You see what I'm saying? And it was a split-second decision, but it had a lasting consequence. A 1 minute decision can have lasting consequences. I'll be transparent and tell y'all, right? A few years back, right? I was younger, not as mature, not as wise. I decided to drink and drive. You know what I mean? Something that I had did quite a bit. But guess what? One day, you know, it caught up to me. You know, guess what? DUI. Now, that DUI, although it was just a night of drinking, a day of drinking, whatever, guess what? That DUI had consequences that last 5 years. Because guess what? Now you got on top of going to jail for a night or whatever the case may be, but now you also got to pay lawyer fees. Now you also I was on probation for a year for that. You see what I'm saying? I had to pay lawyer fees. I had to take out a loan to pay things that I'm still paying back years later off of one night of drinking. You see what I'm saying? You see what it costs? They take money out of my family's mouth because of a decision that it was only one night, but guess what? It turned into 5 years worth of consequences. This is what happens. But as you get older, these are the things you learn. Because guess what? You know what I won't be doing no more? Drinking and driving. Sometimes you got to learn a lesson like that take years to learn for you to get it. Because you might have got spared before. I've gotten spared before. But guess what? You keep getting spared, then one day it's gonna turn into something bigger. And you know what lesson I learned from that? Man, that could have turned out way worse. Could have hit somebody. I could have been hit, killed somebody. Vehicular manslaughter, 10 years. You see what I'm saying? It could have turned into that, or I could have lost my life just off of one night of drinking. Is it worth it? No, it's not. Please hit the like button. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that, Michael. You feel what I'm saying? All right, last thing. And this is just a message to young men and really just young adults in general, young teenagers. But I'm specifically talking to the men because I'm a man. Please learn to respect time so you can grow old with minimal regrets. As a young man, learn to respect time. Because when you respect time as a young man, you grow up to be an old man with minimal regrets. You grow up to be an old man with wisdom. You grow up to learn from people's mistakes. Stop rushing. Stop falling for, every pretty face and you just trying to hurry up and, get with her or whatever the case may be. Because guess what? Now you done got the pretty girl, got her pregnant. Now you got to deal with it for 18 years of child support. And when a woman is scorned, she going to make your life hard. She going to keep your child from you. You feel what I'm saying? She going to do all these things because you ain't take your time to vet her properly. Same thing, young women, right? You sitting here, You rushing in a relationship with these men sexually, marriage, all that type of stuff. But you don't even know this person like that. And now you done had a baby from him, and you got to deal with him for the rest of 18 years. You got to deal with him. He don't want to take care of his kids. See, if you would have took the time to vet him out, let your father or let a man that's close to you vet him out, then he could have told you, hey, he don't take care of his other kids. No, you're not getting with him. He got too many red flags. I don't care how good he look. I don't care how much money you say you're making. Because guess what? What makes you different from those other women that he's dealt with in the past? And now, because you didn't do that, now you're learning like, man, this Negro a bum. But you knew he had 3 baby mamas when you met him. Same thing with dudes. You knew she had 3, 4 baby daddies when you met her. You knew she was on government assistance. But you rushing. You blinded by the vain things. That's why we don't need to fornicate. Because it has lasting consequences. But not only that, now you got these soul ties. You got these soul ties now. You see what I'm saying? Y'all bonded spiritually. Y'all souls bonded. Now y'all hate each other and love each other at the same time. There ain't no life to live. But young men, learn to respect time. Learn to respect all of these lessons that I just gave you on respecting time and apply them to your life right now. Apply them to your life right now because you want to grow old and gray with minimal regrets. You know how many men grow old and gray every day? They got a lot of regrets. Children don't want to see them and talk to them, and they got all these health issues or financial issues. They still living with their parents or still living, depending on other people for money, still on drugs, still in the streets, still chasing that high, still chasing that woman. They got all these regrets. Man, the main thing I used to hear my uncle say growing up, because I got a lot of uncles, and some of them was on drugs, some of them alcoholics, some of them, did what they did in the streets. You feel me? But one thing they would always say, boy, if I can go back, boy, if I was your age, they used to always tell me that, boy, if I was your age and I knew what I knew now, if I can go back in time, but you can't. See, that's a life full of regrets when you say stuff like that. Because when you live a fulfilled life with minimal regrets, you don't sit here and say, if I can go back in time, or boy, if I was your age, you don't say that. But you teach, and you guide, and you mold, and you give wisdom. You see what I'm saying? Because you have minimal regrets. And this is another thing too, learn to respect time so you could just grow old in general. You know how many young brothers dying? Young brother from my city just died the other day. They was talking about it all over the internet. Fulio just got killed. And I knew this young dude in passing. He a few years younger than me, but we used to hang around the same neighborhoods. So I saw them as jits. I saw them as kids. You see what I'm saying? Just lost his life. But guess what? He didn't respect time. He didn't respect a lot of things, which caused his demise. He didn't, you know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of young dudes who don't even make it to get old. Respect time so you can make it to see your grays. See them grays come in your beard and see them grays come on top of your head. That's a blessed thing to see your kids have kids. See your kids graduate. See your grandchildren graduate. To see your dividends pay off. To see your dividends. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all. That's all I got. That's all I got. I hope I didn't keep y'all too long. Phil said, yes, sir. Listen to the elder men who have successfully raised righteous seeds with humility and wisdom, submitted to Yah in all their ways. Hallelujah. Learn the path. It's an African proverb where it says the young man, he has the strength and he has the quickness, and he can move fast, but the old man knows the path. You see what I'm saying? You young, you got the energy, you got the strength, you got, uh, 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 the physical, different things that you need. You got the testosterone. But guess what? The old man knows the path. The elder knows the path. Learn from the elder who knows the path because he can guide you. Y'all can work together. He can guide you because not only can you make it in a good time, but you can go along on the right path and not be swayed to the left or the right and have to go in circles sometime. Have to repeat a cycle sometime. Have to learn a lesson. Have to continuously learn a lesson. You know how many people that's in their 30s, 40s, 50s that's still learning the same lesson that they were supposed to been learning in their 20s or in their teens. You see what I'm saying? I see it every day. People still learning the lessons that they should have learned in their teenage years or should have learned in their early 20s, coming into adulthood, coming into manhood. They still going in circles because they didn't listen to the elders who tried to show them the path. You see what I'm saying? You see how many of our young boys who still they in circles and circles and circles and circles. They see nothing good comes out of this lifestyle. They sit here and say, I'm going to the trap to make money. Listen to what you're saying, bro. You saying you going to a trap to make money. It's called a trap for a reason. You know that killing only gonna bring on more killing, but you still want to kill. You know that when you live by the sword, you're gonna die by the sword. But when it's your time to die, now you don't want to die no more. But you ain't had no problem killing. It don't work like that. You gotta reap what you sow. And you're not just gonna reap it one fold, you're gonna reap it 10-fold, 100-fold sometimes. Grow with wisdom. Absolutely, grow with wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing. It's the principal thing, meaning it should be the forefront of your mind. The first, the chief thing. You look at that word in Hebrew, principle, it really means the chief thing. Should be the chief thing at the forefront, right? Grow with wisdom. Observe. The young have youth. The young have youth, yet without instruction, the mind is lost. Exactly. I give y'all this suggestion, and this for young men, old men alike. Learn how to play the game of chess. It'll teach you a lot about patience and wisdom and time and understanding. It'll teach you a lot. It'll teach you to respect time. But first and foremost, no, let me backtrack. Read the Bible. Read your word. First and foremost, get a relationship with the Most High. Submit to the Most High. Ask for Him to impart His Holy Spirit, His Ruach in you. First and foremost, keep the commandments. Right? That's the first thing. Submit your life to the Most High. Then after that, learn how to play chess. Chess is a great game, and it teaches you a lot. Teaches you a lot about life, teaches you a lot about wisdom, teaches you a lot about respecting time, being patient. But that's the first lesson, y'all. Respect time. Let me know, do y'all like it, if I do this series, if I do it on a live video, or would y'all rather me just record it and just post the video? Because I personally like the interaction. But if y'all just, y'all would rather just watch the video, I could do that too. Just let me know what y'all want in the comment section, or leave it in the chat real quick before we get off here. I applied Louisiana for posting the commandments, but applying the commandments is more beneficial. Absolutely. Don't just listen. Listen and apply. Let that seed fall on good ground. I know y'all see it getting dark out here. But yeah, would y'all rather for me, before we get off of here, would y'all rather for me go live when I'm doing these lessons? Or would y'all rather for me to just record the video? Leave it in the comment section in the chat. Let's keep up with the lives. The interaction is amazing. I agree. I love the interaction. I love to chop it up with y'all. And forgive me for not chopping it up with y'all lately. Like I told y'all, man, I've been sick. I've had a, sinus infection. But that ain't no excuse. That ain't no excuse. That ain't no excuse. But respect time. Respect time. I was thinking about that today. Respecting time. because boy, you don't know when it's gonna run out. You got people living out here on borrowed time. You see what I'm saying? You got people out here rushing. You got people out here who just running a race to their death. Live chats according to your time, brother. Absolutely. Well, I guess we'll do live chats. Guess we'll do live chats. But I appreciate y'all for chopping it up with me. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? The conversation, the interaction is always good. But that's just something that I was pondering on today. I was meditating on today, because it applies to my life. Whenever I'm speaking on something or teaching on something, or even when I preach on something, you know, when I preach at or teach at my assembly, you know, it's always really me talking to me. But I know y'all can benefit from it. It's always what the Most High is dealing with me about. So, you know, I just want y'all to know that I'm really just speaking to myself. But I know that you guys can benefit, and I know that this right here can benefit some young men, young black men, young Hebrew men growing up in this world that we living in. Because we already got two strikes against us, especially in this country. In this country of America, we already got two strikes. So we got to learn how to be. And I'll leave y'all with this. We have to learn, like our Messiah told us, be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Meaning, be just as cunning, right? Not in a negative way, right? Because wisdom is, you know, being understanding and really being cunning in a way, right? Learning, paying attention, discerning, but harmless as doves, right? Because when you understand the ways of a serpent, you understand how to navigate a serpent. When you understand the ways of the wicked, you understand how to deal with the wicked. When you could be just as cunning, right? But you sin not, but you're harmless. You say, I see you, and I'm gonna move accordingly. That's being wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Right? But with that, y'all, I'm gonna let y'all get back to it. I appreciate y'all for tuning in with me. I just want to say all praise to the Most High. And like I always like to say, man, you get somebody the power to feed you, you're giving the power to starve you. Peace, y'all.